least I'm hoping so. Yep. We're all here in all of our glory. Time for our podcast. So we have a few people watching so far. Oh, one. I don't know how you got in here, Steve. How you got in here so quick? You got in here before we even went live. So anyway, we're gonna start the podcast off by introducing ourselves. So I'm Kenmick 1976, and this is our first podcast. I do YouTube videos and streaming, and the next person, Lazy Mapper. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, this is Lazy Mapper, and I'm on PC, Xbox One. Know me as I'm Going to Get You Sucker also. And I've just been mapping for a while, and I'm enjoying
for a
editor.
long while.
Yeah, since Far Cry Instinct's Predator. Almost 10 years, I think.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. Fallen Champ, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a long-term one. I didn't play the original one on PC in 2004, but I was on Instincts on the original Xbox out 2005. Just drift in and out with the community, and I'm currently on all three platforms.
Yep.
And just enjoy building maps.
I think that's the same thing as all three of us, right? All three of us are on three platforms, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I'm still waiting for PS4 to go on sale.
Ah, right, okay. Sweet. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to start off. As a matter of fact, yeah, before we actually start talking about Far Cry, for those who haven't seen the Twitch streams or any of the YouTube channels, if you go to the is it notes or information, if the information link on my Twitch page, you will see links to Lazy Mapper's channel and Fallen Champ's channel and myself as we do YouTube videos. So check those out if you haven't seen it already. So let's get right into it. Far Cry 5 due out in February. Is there actually a date?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Sometimes they change, don't they, between like the States and Europe, and although the UK is meant to be in Europe, we seem to get things a day after Europe. But as far as I'm aware, it's all over 27th of February.
All right. Okay. So it's due out next year, 2018, February. Can't wait to get my hands on it. And let's talk about the campaign mode, because throughout most of the iterations of Far Cry, I've never really been really interested in the story mode, but for some reason this time I'm kind of interested in the story mode, the campaign.
I've always played I play the whole thing, you know. I maybe Far Cry 4, I've maybe been through it 5-6 times possibly.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've played the main campaign, but I'm talking
really
about like the
well.
story sort of gripping you and sort of like sucking you in, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I preferred 3 out of them all with Vass. I think he's like everyone's character.
I do agree with that.
But this new guy looks quite crazy, and let's hope he can be a Vass beater. So we know it's going to be an awesome game.
Before we get into the campaign mode, I'd like to give out a couple of shouts. Steve Botter, thank you very much for joining. Remo, as usual, and Irascible Sat, thank you very much for hosting. What were you saying, Fallen?
I was just saying, almost everyone says Vass is like the best character, although the guy in Far Cry 2, the Jackal, he didn't say a lot, but he was kind of cool. But this new guy, this Joseph Seed, there's something really sort of dark about him. I think he could be really good.
Mm.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be a decent character.
I think I said, I spoke before about it being sort of like, it for us, this version of Far Cry seems sort of closer to home, or closer to, instead of like way
Reality.
far out. Do you know what I mean? Like
It's not as fictional, is it? And it's sort of modern day as
yeah,
well, so there's
yeah.
something sort of real about it.
Yeah, they even have like a location, actual location.
Kevin, look into his eyes in a picture, man. He'll scare the shit out of you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was one of them. So what do you think about the main villain this time?
Well,
I think it's interesting because Ubisoft's been kind of quiet with their main villain, so it'll be neat to hear some more information about him. It would be kind of cool if they had like a scary video or YouTube, how they did with Voss, and they had so much information about Voss that it's kind of strange that they're keeping him kind of quiet.
I'm actually glad that they're not saying anything because I don't want no spoilers. Do you know what I mean? Like for me personally, I mean it's kind of scary because like, you don't want to, you don't want to get the game and it's crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the same time, but I like that mystery behind the character as well. Also,
I'm one of these. I kind of every now and again I check in on the like websites and things, and it just says information coming soon. But when you look into a little bit, I believe in his head he thinks he's normal and he's doing normal things, and he just wants to save people. But he's obviously a total nut job. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him.
yeah.
Well, I remember Dan Hayes saying how like he has a huge family, and a lot of family members are like taking over like communications, and that's why, they keep saying that how can they take over like a state, in the United States, and they were saying how that he's got like brothers and sisters all over the place that were cutting off communication.
Yeah, people that he's anointed.
Yeah.
So people that he's anointed, but also on top of that, yeah, it's like, I think I heard a story similar to this Joseph Seed where it was actually about white supremacy actually, and they'd come into this town and they'd started buying up small properties at first, and then all of a sudden, like over a certain period of time, yeah, more people from that group or sect, yeah, that started sort of like coming into the town because of this one guy that's bought up these amount of properties. So I think it's kind of like a similar sort of storyline.
I think it's really dangerous. Like with nowadays, anything you do, people are just all over it. You can't do anything. But I believe. I mean, they're going about all this to some of these idiots trying to cause trouble, but.
Well, we were talking about the story mode here.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just saying that it's kind of interesting, yeah, with the story mode and how they're going with the story mode. It's something that's kind of gripped me. The other stories. I mean, I played. Is it Far Cry Predator? I did enjoy the story on that. I have to admit. Because it was like a super soldier sort of program, wasn't it?
It was more like a fantasy story. That's why this one's more realistic, especially when you had like Waco and the stuff that happened in Texas. Like there is like some, I guess you could say, some crazy cults in America. So it's something that could be more realistic.
So what are the things that you're looking forward to in story mode?
I just want to go crazy. I just want to kill everything that moves.
well,
no, I'm serious. I like the vehicles. Like the new vehicles that we've shown, like a big truck, and it just looks a lot more fun. I think Far Cry 2 was more it was a bit more serious and gritty. And then the last one, I wasn't really mad on Pagan Min, to be honest. I found him a weak character. He doesn't speak a lot.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit of a nutter, like, in the intro, where he first introduces himself.
He drifted in and out too much for me. I'm hoping this new guy in 5 that we're going to see more of him. He's going to be more in the story.
Well, Voss seemed like he really got into his character. So he felt like he was really nuts. You know what I'm saying?
Voss got into your head, though. You know what I mean? Like that. If you think about it, that motto that he had, was crazy, and it just like everybody was saying it. Do you know what I mean? Have I ever told you the definition of
Yeah.
insanity? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's a line you just do not forget. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny as well too because a few followers on Twitch as well have thrown that in, you know, in the chat when I've screwed up on a map or something like that. You know what I mean? And I've had to redo it again. You know what I mean? Have I ever told you the definition of insanity? So Vass, yeah, kind of like, you know, he kind of leaked into my psyche as far as I'm concerned, as a character. So that was pretty interesting.
I think it's really good that this time I don't think there's any dialogue with our character. You can pick male or female, apparently, and
Oh,
you like the male.
the
Yeah.
character that you play.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and apparently the map's sort of you can go wherever you want from the start. It's
Well,
open.
on the website, it says you do have character creation, so
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that'll be
interesting.
interesting. That's all about we know,
But
though.
the colours are a huge thing for me because like when you start getting up like Nepal region and things, the higher you go, the less plants and foliage there is. With this new one, it's just really colourful everywhere. It looks
Yeah,
vibrant. It's really nice.
I was watching a couple of videos. As a matter of fact, yeah, there's a clip that's showing on the podcast in the top left hand corner as well too. Um,
Yeah,
so
that tractor's nuts, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, it's really bright, you know, and colourful.
Do you
So
mean? Sorry, me and Chris, we were lucky enough. We were at E3 and we managed to play an extended demo in the Ubisoft Lounge in LA. So we've played, you know, a bit of it, but the graphics when it was on the PS4 Pro, they're massively cranked up. The smoke and the fire and everything. But you go into
Yeah,
these
the
buildings,
effects
you
and
know,
everything.
and the floors all shiny, and I'm like, wow, Jesus, this looks really excellent. You know, it's gonna be huge for me. I'm really looking forward to it.
So, just a quick thing. Remo's put a link in the on Twitch, and I've just clicked on it, and it says Far Cry 5. A deputy is sent to the town of Hope County to arrest Seed, a corrupt evangelical religious leader who rules the town with the help of his disturbed followers, basically. And it's got some photographs and so forth, and it's got the cast, storyline, and some details. So it might be worth sort of like just having a sort of quick glance at that. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I imagine someone's gonna turn up there and they're gonna resist, and then all shit's gonna break loose from there, and then it's gonna kick off.
Yeah. Co-op mode. Um, I'm actually looking forward to co-op mode because co-op in Far Cry 4, didn't you have to sort of play so much of the game before you could actually start co-op? But this time
I'm
you
not
can.
sure, but with Far Cry 4, remember like the missions with Herc and things, and say you had like separate story missions and things. You couldn't do those in co-op. You could roam around the whole entire world, but you couldn't do missions. But with
Right.
this one, with Far Cry 5, you can do missions together. But as far as I'm aware, only one person who's the host
Yeah, gets the
saves their
credit.
stats. Yeah,
Ah,
that's all right. Kevin. Don't worry, mate. You have all credit, and I'll just kill everything for you.
Yeah, I know, right?
They should adopt the style of what's that game that I've played? I'm just trying to think of it. We talked-
Borderlands.
Borderlands,
too.
that's the right Borderlands.
Yeah.
Well, with all the Borderlands, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you play co-op, or even if you play co-op on thing, you still earn points and or credits, you know, for what you do, XP. So you know that they could adopt that situation. I mean, we don't really know anything yet about campaign and what they're going to do on campaign, so it'll be quite interesting to see what they do regards to co-op.
See, I like really mad stuff as well. A bit of a loony, and them muscle cars had like some kind of nitro and just like a speed boost, you know. Even if it's just on one car, I don't know. I'm hoping that there's surprises with some crazy things. It's a
Well,
big
they
open
had
world game.
when we played the demo at E3, they did have like it was like a sports car. It looked like an older Camaro. The
Yeah,
nice paint job, and then they have that huge truck that almost looks like a transformer truck.
and,
It's got bright colors. It's really nice looking.
and almost
It's
anything that you hit smashes, doesn't it? The fences and everything, you just plough through fields and just smash everything up.
Yeah, so you've got like breakable objects now, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, the fence, you see that blow up, and there's also that it looks like you'll be able to change the colors of your car and all that, because they have that map preppers map pack or something,
Oh,
and they
so
have all these
so
things.
you have like customizable sort of like gear and that, yeah.
it
Yeah, and
looks like that.
clothes and
All right,
Yeah,
everything.
sweet.
some of the weapons look a little bit different. There's some of the like Chris said, some of the DLC packs. They've got like a hunter's pack and a some prepper's pack and a few others.
Uh, just
Yeah,
just just a quick thing. Steve Botter has put something in the chat, yeah. So I'm just gonna read it. It says, if the character creation is relatively extensive, I'm assuming Ubisoft will also use it for more diverse enemies than we've seen so far.
I don't know. That could be interesting. If they use different clothes on the enemies also.
I'm just wondering, yeah, because when uh is it Division? Division got released. I mean, I got that and I thought it was an incredible game, and I'm wondering if they sort of like implement some of those sort of ideas. I didn't play the Wildlands. I've heard that that was good, but I never played that, but I'm wondering if they're gonna implement, or they will implement some sort of elements of character customization from that in there. But at the same time, with it being a first person shooter, how would that work out?
Well, I guess in co-ops, like you dress up in your kit and I do mine, and
Mm.
you can see each other's, but I don't think you'll see much of your own.
You won't see, and that for
But
me, that's the thing, you know.
wait, thing is, when me and Chris go back to sort of Instincts and Predator, you had character customization for multiplayer. Now there was one of the guys from Holland. He always used to carry dual pistols, and he always had a hat and always had the same suit. And as soon as I joined the game, before his name popped up, I'd know it was him. So you can sort of create your own characters. I think if this works in multiplayer, it'll be big.
Mm, mm.
We'll have to see.
What about sort of like game features? Like we've seen that they have like this it's fishing mode on here.
We had a go on that, and I'm not into fishing. I'd just rather throw like I'd rather throw dynamite in and friggin' blow them out the water. I've got the patience to
I,
stand with a
I
good
mean,
rod.
I thought the fishing was for a minute, though. I couldn't do that forever, but just to try it out. And also, when you're reeling it up with your controller, as to if you have a bigger fish, it will try and pull away, and the controller will vibrate, which I thought was kind of a neat little feature they added for Far Cry 5. It's a new part of the game to try out, but I could get bored of it.
There's a couple of things I noticed. A couple of the fishing rods with the lines are different colours, so I don't know if you can get ones that are stronger that can pick up heavier fish. But I tell you what would get me interested if I went onto my game and I got a message and it said the lazy mapper's caught I don't know, a 50-pound sturgeon, and I think, right, I can beat that. If
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
recorded the
yeah.
Yeah,
captions
If
and
it
said
some
recorded,
like
some
challenges,
sort of competition, yeah, between
like
friends
challenges and
and
that,
so
yeah.
forth. Yeah,
Or if you
yeah.
caught a certain fish and you unlocked something really good, but other than that, I'll probably cast in once and then I'll shoot the guy fishing into the water, and then I'll just get the plane and fly off.
yeah, there you go. You can shoot the guy and take his fish.
But,
You
but
can
I
have the
tell you,
biggest fish.
That sounds
the,
so wrong.
the water looks really good though. Like, honestly, the water's
Mm.
really good, and the fishing, the mechanics and that are actually good. You know, the noises and the little ripples in the water. You see them floating on the top,
I
sort
mean,
of.
we're talking about here. We're talking about there's only one game mode at the moment, which seems to be like sort of like you know, yeah, it seems to be like an odd game mode sort of thing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Well, I tell you what, I played Final Fantasy. Was it 15? The last one that they came out with. And on that you can do fishing as well too on
Yeah,
that. But it has you know, when you start doing the fishing and that, yeah, it has other properties as well too. So the more fishing that you do, the more XP you actually earn for this particular character. So it would be nice to have something like that as well, but
The
I
Legend
think
of
that's
Zelda.
stretching it a
That,
bit. But what I meant to say was that's only sort of like one game mode. Do you know what I mean? Do
yeah,
you reckon that there'll be any other game
I don't
modes
know,
in
mate.
there
I seen
besides
it on the website. They had a guy like shooting at a deer, so I'm sure there's going to be some type of hunting.
some
Yeah.
sort of
And have you
hunting?
seen? There's one where there's like a bull in like a pen, and it makes you think there's any like bull riding or something like that. When I looked at Assassin's Creed, they've got horses in that, and I'm thinking, are we going to get horses? Because apparently in Montana there's lots of like horse riding and things. It
Okay,
looks
And
that'll be
maybe
interesting.
you'll get cow riding,
yeah.
cow tipping.
I smashed a cow in the face with a baseball bat. That was quite good.
I tell you what would be interesting as well too. I've seen the videos and it seems that the area that it's in, because you've got like vast sort of like forests, right? And you've got like more selection of animals as well too, because I'm sort of like wondering that with Far Cry 4, what I felt about Far Cry 4 was that it was never its full potential, because they were literally doing it for the last generation of consoles that we had, named the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. So it kind of like I felt like Far Cry 4 wasn't at its full
Full
potential.
potential. Yeah, yeah. I felt that way too, especially with the map editor. So
Have you, Kenneth? Have you played Primal at all?
Yes, I have been playing Primal.
Because for me, the those huge trees and the fog, and when it goes to night, it looks like a new engine, but it isn't. But when you look at Far Cry 4 and you look at Primal, Primal to me looks far superior with the settings and things like that, the daytime, the night, the
Okay,
fog.
so Primal only came out for the for this generation of
PS4,
consoles,
Xbox
right?
One, PC, yeah, yeah.
Okay, right,
So
interesting,
I guess they've pushed that little bit more into it. That
right,
wouldn't have been possible on the older ones.
right. Okay, that sounds interesting. Um, companions. Let's talk about companions. In
yeah,
Far
like the
Cry
guns for
5.
hire.
Yeah, so the
And there's
guns
like
for hire.
fangs for hire, yeah,
Um,
guns
so
and fangs for hire.
so one of the things that I was concerned about is I've played quite a few games in the past. Don't quote me on them because I can't even remember them. But where the AI is supposed to help you out, but instead of the AI helping you out, it kind of messes you up. And one of the things I was concerned about was playing a game and choosing an AI. I'd rather go in there like a lone soldier than take an AI with me. Do you know what I mean? So I wonder if that feature would be, you know, something that you could do. Like if I would like to have a choice. Do you know what I mean? Whether to take a companion in there with me or not.
I think
Yeah.
Grace Mapper can answer that, yeah.
Well, I know. I would probably, if I had to use them, I think Dan Hay said it was a choice when he did a video. If you wanted to use any kind of extra characters with you, I might use Boomer a lot. He
Oh,
seems like a cool
the
dog.
dog. I
Yeah,
think that's going to be quite popular with a lot of players, to be honest.
See, with a dog, it can walk around unseen because there's lots of other stray dogs and things.
Mm.
So you just basically, on a controller, I think you just point the D-pad. You can set it where you want it to go and stuff. But with the female character, she'll come and heal you. I think she's the only one that can heal you.
Is
With
that
a
the
free
is
routine.
that the is that the
Grace,
sniper?
Grace the
yeah.
sniper. Yeah. I mean, me and Chris have used her on these demos, but I was getting, I run in and get killed. I was wasted on the floor, and she come over and healed me. So
Oh,
that
you
was,
mean you got roasted?
yeah.
Mm.
But the only thing I'm not keen on is she'll take shots at whether if you don't give her targets. I can't remember whether she'll shoot on her own, but the guy with the plane, I didn't use him at all. He just flew around like an idiot up there, and I never got him to drop one bomb. I didn't want him, so I picked him by mistake. As far as
What,
I'm aware,
Nick?
yeah, like Chris said, you don't have to use them. If you don't want to use them, you just
Mm,
don't select them, don't sort of go to them, and don't open the missions.
mm. I mean, like, I'm the type of person I do like stealth, but I think it would be interesting to be able to use them in some missions on the campaign mode. Do you know where it was like integral to the story, maybe?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, I probably don't mind that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then
Uh,
like I said, it depends on if they get the AI right. Do you know?
We've not got
yeah.
enough like info yet. It could be that you just go to an area and if you want, you might unlock them, but maybe you have to select if you want to use them. But you
Yeah.
must be able to switch
That's what it
between each
seems like.
one.
That seems like what it's going to be like. You have to
If you
unlock
don't
and
want them, you maybe just don't
be an
use them.
area to take over. Like, when you go to Nick's place, maybe that's when you unlock him, when he's got that aviation place. And also, I'm sure there's other characters too. You might have the priest. Maybe he can like throw a Bible at people. I don't know.
Your Bible bashing. Oh
When you
wow.
look on the website, some of the characters will give quests, like that. Is it Mary, the lass in the spread eagle bar? She's a quest giver. The pastor Jerome is a
Wait,
quest
what?
giver.
The spread eagle bar.
Yeah, the spread eagle bar. I noticed she's like making Molotovs and stuff. So maybe she goes around throwing Molotovs.
There's a guy based on Steven Seagal in there as well. I don't know if he's a chef. But honestly, you can see it all in videos. And you go up to a jukebox in there and you can select between the different music. And the music's it was more like 80s, 90s rock and stuff. It was really good.
I mean, I'll be interested because you know me, guys. Like like I specialize in stealth. Well, try to.
You
Anyway.
do until I get in your match.
Well, trust me. Like I can do it both ways. You know what I mean? I can go stealth. Or I can go full ham. Do you know what I mean? Which I've I've proven that in the last couple of streams. You know. So what I'm more interested in as well too is the sort of like stealth aspect and takedowns as well too, you know. And I think the interesting thing that you talked about as well too, Fallen, was the way that the enemies picked each other up. That could be that. I mean that for gameplay wise, do you know that could be
You've got to
very
kill 'em.
interesting.
If you don't kill them and they're laid there bleeding out, I think they're maybe on a timer. I'm not too sure, but someone else will go straight to them,
And pick
bring
them
them up,
up.
and yeah.
If you don't take them out.
Yeah, so that means you could literally shoot an enemy, right, and like watch for the friend to go and pick them up, and then you could take that person out. Maybe you know what I mean?
Use them as bait.
Yeah, basically, yeah, use them as bait. Yeah, that would be definitely interesting for real.
When we were in E3, we were waiting in the queue to play Rainbow Six. We had these fast track passes, but the queue was small. And we said, "Oh, we'll wait." And Chris spotted, like the lazy mapper spotted Dan Hay, and he said, "Oh, well, let's see if we can talk to him." Anyway, we got this selfie, and we thought that was it. But he said, "Oh, come on, we'll have a chat." And we were chatting for about 15 minutes, and I said to him, "The AI seems way more aggressive," and he said, "Yeah, it's cranked up, and it is. It's they're onto you really, really fast, and they seem to be able to climb over things a lot more, obstacles and things."
Yeah, they're able to like parkour with you, jump through things, fences, jump right over with you.
It's a lot more difficult anyway, with my play style. So I'll probably have to get some tips off you for the stealth.
You're gonna have to make a new video.
Yeah,
just drop to your knees. That's it. Anything else, that's at your discretion. Oh my god! But anyway, I'm interested in the weapons. As you guys know, I love the bow, especially the compound bow, and that compound bow looks absolutely nice. You can just about see it in the picture actually, next to the flag. So that looks really cool. So. What are you guys thinking about weapons and so forth?
On that picture, there's a sledgehammer, and I want to just smash someone's brains out with that.
Oh my god!
No, like footage of it. I don't know. I mean, can you throw the thing
around?
or
maybe maybe he could be stealthy with the sledgehammer. You know.
I like the shotguns and crossbows, but we'll have to see. I'm not one. I tend to just get similar weapons and stick with them.
Yeah, when me and Fall and Champ played the demo at E3, there was an option to use like a silencer on a gun. So, and also you could change the fire rate of the guns. Also, that's something new in Far Cry 5. Yeah,
that's really interesting. That would be nice to do.
That's on certain guns, isn't it? You can now go like single shot you can go burst fire or full automatic.
Yeah, so that's kind of new. And also, they had on the website, they say that there's a slingshot, but we didn't get to see that. That would be kind of interesting too. Using a slingshot.
There's a slingshot in Primal, isn't there? Sort of, like an old-fashioned one, but I don't know what type it would be on the new one. But the baseball bats, I used like a standard one, and then when I've watched a video of it, someone playing, they picked up one that had barbed wire on. So there's obviously, I think there's one with a Union Jack on it. There's maybe different skins or different types. I'm not sure.
Steve in the chat was saying that the harpoon gun should return because that's kind of sick.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Like
I'd
pinning,
love that
pinning
in
enemies to
multiplayer.
walls and trees and that. Do you know?
Yeah, that was kind of a cool feature to have when it shot them. If you hit them, that is. You missed them, you're sitting there trying to reload that thing.
But
it's cool.
It's like, for the setting, it's like, why would you need a harpoon gun? I mean,
I don't know, but it's a wild weapon to use.
There must be a big fish in that lake. That's all I have to say.
Steve's also saying a nail gun or a chainsaw. A chainsaw would be quite awesome.
A nail gun. That's inventive.
Yeah.
A nail gun. So one of the things that kind of threw me off was I've got myself a pair of Astro headsets, and sometimes the sound can be slightly off. Like say for instance, I've heard like somebody walking in the distance, and it sounds like they're actually walking underneath me, and I'm looking, but they're actually not. They're actually further away than they're supposed to be. So I'm not sure whether they've got the sound right on this one, on Far Cry 5.
See what Lazy Mapper says, and then I'll tell you what, because we played it with headset on.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I thought the sound was more improved. The quality was a lot better playing Far Cry 5. I didn't remember the direction of the enemies. I didn't remember how good that was. But when we were throwing like dynamite and stuff, you could really feel like a concussion of the sound when it exploded and the effects. I noticed that when you go into buildings, it does change the sound of the gunfire and all. But the direction of the enemies, I don't recall how good it, if it was improved or not.
I agree on the dynamite, and there was one instance where I was by the fishing lake, and these ducks took off in flight, and they were quacking as they were flying, and my head actually went up into the corner of the room as if following the noise. See, I don't normally play with headsets very often. It's only when I come on here talking to you guys. Right. And with the fishing, I was more interested in jumping in the water and swimming and going under and seeing how deep it was. And as I went under, the lighting and the sound for me was excellent, and sort of the light faded as I was swimming deeper, and the noise faded.
What kind of was it? Was it like a monitor, or was it like a 4K TV? It was.
I have no idea. You'd have to ask Lazy Mapper. I'm not good with technology.
Well, no, there was just a bunch of monitors with a bunch of PS4 Pros all hooked up.
Okay.
And it looked like the actual console. Like a lot of these E3 things, they'll say it's this, and it's really a computer underneath. But I'm pretty sure there were.
They had the layout for the controller on the PS4, so there must have been PS4s. We were using them controllers and that.
Yeah.
So what about graphics, guys?
I love the color, and the detail in the houses is way improved. Like they have like dishes. It looks like a real live. They have pictures up on the wall. I think you could even flush the toilet and turn on the sink. And the attention to detail has definitely increased from what I've seen.
I've seen that you can actually open doors as well too.
You just walk into them. You walk or run into them, and I think. If you walk into it slow, it'll open slow, but if you run into it quick, it just flings open quicker. It's just like a transition. It doesn't feel jerky or anything. You just go straight through. It's good.
Yeah, you can jump through the window, and the window breaks, so that's kind of cool.
The lighting for me was really, really good, and I did weird things. I got out the vehicle and I went walk woods, and I liked the flowers and things. It was colourful. But for me, when I saw the fire and the smoke and explosions, and like the Lazy Mapper said with the dynamite, the sound was cranked up and the graphics were cranked up. I heard a couple of people say that they saw some pop-ups somewhere, but I never really experienced that. I thought I was really impressed with the PS4 Pro.
Right. So that That's interesting.
A little plug to Sony there.
Right.
Well, when we were there, when me and Steve were there, I did ask the guy if you think they're going to increase it for the Xbox One X, and he says they said they would, since the PS4 Pro is been updated with better graphics. So they said they were definitely going to work on that.
Also, one of the guys in the booth, he said that this isn't a finished article. They still need optimizing, and it'll probably look even better at launch.
Yeah, he said that. He said it could even improve more, and we were impressed what we saw. So
right. So I mean, it's gonna look really good. Do you know what I mean? At least I'm hoping that they have like some sort of like optimized option for the Xbox One X that's coming out next month as well. Do you know what I mean? Because if they've got it on the PS4 Pro. And it's looking that good. I'm sure it's going to look good on the Xbox One X and the PC as well. Also, so I'm actually like seriously like I'm actually looking forward to the campaign. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Regards to the campaign mode, and we can now move on to multiplayer. And what you guys have heard about multiplayer so far?
Just that it's got multiplayer. There's
I know there's not been much said about multiplayer.
There's something where I think it's more or less cleared up. I think there was one Sony like Europe was saying 5v5 and Sony sort of USA was saying 6v6. So I'm just saying 6v6, hoping for the best that that's the most players. You can look at it different ways. I mean, sometimes towards the end of Instincts and towards the end of Far Cry 2, people would leave lobbies, or sometimes you couldn't get full lobbies in. And I've played matches with 4v4 and they've been fine. Obviously, you want as many players as you can, but if you look at Far Cry 2, there was no zip lines, there was no wingsuit, the vehicles were really, really slow. You could only have 6 vehicles. So Far Cry 5, if they give us loads of vehicles like Far Cry 4, and if we have zip lines again and wingsuit, you're going to get around really quick. 6v6 will be a lot of fun, in my opinion.
It's going to be interesting, I tell you. It's going to definitely be interesting. What about sort of like see for me, I didn't really play multiplayer on Predator, but I did play a lot of Far Cry 2. And solo deathmatch wasn't something that I played often, but I did play occasionally. So like solo deathmatch and what you call capture the diamond.
They're probably my two favourite mods. Those are I'm not a team deathmatch player. Most people are. That's the most popular, but for me, I'd go with solo deathmatch and capture the flag. If they give us them, but we don't know what we're going to get.
I have to say though, I have fun. I definitely had fun playing Capture the Diamond.
The thing is with that, right, is that on Far Cry 2, you had to go up to the diamond and press a button to pick it up.
Yeah.
And then if you got killed, someone else couldn't run in and grab that diamond. You couldn't pass it to anyone else. And me and like the Lazy Mapper, we didn't play together because we didn't know each other then, but we played a lot of. They called it steal a sample. It was just the same, but you could throw the sample. Now, when you throw that, it auto attached to another player. You could be high up on a mountain, or on top of a custom-made base, and you could throw that down to a player, or someone could throw it up. But the beauty was, when you're running with that and someone goes to kill you, you'd turn around to face your team and you just throw it towards them. And if no one gets it,
a bit like rugby.
Yeah. Well, one guy made a map that was just a load of walls, and you used to throw it over the walls to different players to get to the end and score. But honestly, that just adding that in alone makes it phenomenal. It's brilliant.
Yeah, just to add on it, Far Cry Instinct Predator, you could reverse the basis, so you could actually start off with the sample, and you could try to run it through the other base.
Right,
so you can almost. Some people made like football fields based in in America, and there was a lot of really neat map designs. And what was great about that was that you could like set up people around their base, and then you could try and sneak in there, and then you try to throw the sample out. So the gameplay was so much fun with that model. And I guess we'll have to see what happens. What kind of game modes they'll have for Far Cry 5.
That was really popular as well, because what Lazy Map is saying is you start off normally with your own sample, but he's saying you switched them over, so you start with the enemies. You don't have to go there and collect it and come back. Just get to the other end and score. And that's
Yeah.
they do that. Yeah, they got switched quite a lot. You can do things like that in Halo as well, but I'd also like to be able to just activate one sample, so that you can have an attack defend. You've got King of the Hill straight away. You know, you can do a lot with custom game mods.
Yeah, they had Secret Secure as a Fallen Champ used to play that. He used to tell me that was pretty cool. It was like a domination mode, and every time you conquered that area, it would show up in another part of the map. So it wasn't like fixed exactly.
Yeah, you
like
had
it
five.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
You had 5 points and only one would show up. So say that you had blue and a red team, and if the blue team got on there first, it turned blue, and they had a timer to tick down, say a minute. If someone kills them and the red team goes on there, it turned red, but the blue time would still stay the same, and you do that until it gets to the end. But if it times out, then the next station pops up. It was really, really good.
So basically, it would be nice to see some of those mods sort of return.
Yeah. The old ones, instead of these new ones that just came out for their, the recent Far Cries, they're kind of like strange modes to play. Excuse me. That I thought I think they should go back to the classic ones, the older game modes that seem to be more successful.
Yeah. They seem to work, man.
With Far Cry 3 on Domination, it didn't matter how good you were or how many times you scored. That match didn't end until the timer ended. You should be able to set to like 3 scores and the match ends or something like that.
What about weapon placements as well too, especially when you play multiplayer?
Well, we got them in Far Cry 4's editor. I hope they return personally. That way, I can only, if I want to only put one sniper rifle in a match, I'll put it in the middle, and you have to fight to get to it.
That's the editor. So like we're gonna talk. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the editor sort of like afterwards. Right. As far as weapon placements in multiplayer,
What did Far Cry 4 have? I played that, but it was kind of bizarre.
I couldn't
didn't
play
have weapon.
it. Yeah, I couldn't play
You didn't
it.
pick them up, did you, on that? You were either Rakshasa with the bows.
I think you sort of like started out with weapons, didn't you? I'm not 100% sure.
You could have like a loadout, couldn't you? The one had bows and arrows, but the others had certain guns, but you could switch between your loadouts. So you couldn't have loads of weapons, but there was like a few loadouts you could pick, and you can upgrade the weapons and that in Far Cry 4.
So yeah, it'd be quite interesting to see how they implement this multiplayer, because like I said, the last one I didn't play.
For me, Far Cry 3 and 4's multiplayer was shit. It was shit. So it's up to them. If they want to give us a good multiplayer, they know what game modes we like. Look at Far Cry 2 and look at Far Cry Instinct.
See the last 2 games, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to multiplayer, they have failed miserably.
They blew it.
They blew that. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, what they didn't realize is that the way that they had the lobby system and everything else as well too, because I think that even the lobby system, in regards to, I'm not just talking about the multiplayer, the editor as well. Do you know what I mean? But I'm talking more of the multiplayer. It was kind of horrible, the multiplayer system. I mean, some of the modes were interesting.
They were interesting. Yeah.
Far Cry 3 had shared spawns though, and as soon as you get every mod with shared spawns, you've got people popping up all over the friggin' place.
Spawn killed, galore. Like it's like they rushed that. It was a last minute thing. Do you know what I mean? On Far Cry 3.
I made a bunch of maps though on Far Cry 3, and it was hard to make like a metric map if Predator. A lot of people were in the symmetrical maps, especially when you would set it up for like capture the flag, steal the sample. You kind of made them type of bases and maps, but they kind of was trying to copy. It seemed like Call of Duty.
They were trying to go for that run and gun style, wasn't it?
Like asymmetrical maps where the map doesn't have like bases. But personally, anybody who made maps and stuff for multiplayer didn't really like that style. At least I didn't. I don't think Fallen Champ did it.
No, I mean, like you said, it had the barrel drops and it had the gas, but there was one really funny thing where it all went insane. You turned into like this weird character and everyone looked like black demons. If you drop that one,
Oh yeah, I remember
and you
that.
didn't know it was like friend or foe. That was quite
Yeah,
interesting.
that was interesting. I actually did like that one. That was actually interesting.
But I mean, they brought the perks in. They did basically try and take a little bit of the pie of Call of Duty, and it failed miserably. But I actually liked co-op mode, and I know you didn't like it, Kemet, but the 4-player co-op mode, it was buggy as hell, but when it worked, I really enjoyed that.
Well,
I enjoyed it too.
It wasn't that made me leave, really and truthfully. Like that didn't really worry me. I mean, the reason why I left Far Cry 3, yeah, was because of the lobby system, regards to the editor and everything else. It was just horrible. But like I said, we'll get to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, for anyone that didn't know, if you wanted to host a map, you had to send out invites to friends. So if your friends are playing other games, they're suddenly getting spammed with these invites, and nobody really likes that constant. And then once you play that one map, everyone's kicked out. Every single person's kicked out.
You had to start all over again.
Right.
Re-invite everyone all over again.
Yeah, re-invite people again.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess.
See, that's the thing. Like, I didn't understand, why they took something that was, they took something that was brilliant to start off with. In Far Cry 2. I'm talking about the lobby system. Yeah, there was some bits that were broken, but at the end of the day, the lobby system was perfect. You could even leave your Xbox on and host, like, I think, was it up to 9 maps? Was it 9 maps you could host?
Well, on Far Cry Instincts Predator, it was 16. So basically, you could set your console up as a server.
As a server, yeah.
Yeah.
You could even go to bed and leave it as like running dedicated, and people could join all through the night.
Yeah, and you could set up your maps or your friends' maps, and you set up 16 maps. Now, one time I did that myself. Somebody playing it, and I did go to sleep. I woke up; it was completely full. People were playing it for hours.
You have to remember though, with that game, there was no like Ubisoft site to download maps. You could only download them from the individual that was hosting them, and there was no map ratings or anything. So there was no bitching or anything like that either.
I know that every time I built a map on Far Cry 2, what I would do is I would mix them up and throw in a couple of my friends' maps and host the lobby, and I'd just fall asleep. And like my Xbox, I'd just leave my Xbox on, and people would be joining. You'd see, I wake up in the morning, I can hear gunfire going off. I'm thinking, wait a minute, am I in a war or something? My Xbox is still switched on.
When you do that, in time, people realise who's a good host and who does shares good maps and
that was one of the reasons why I was so disappointed with Far Cry 3. I mean, it got to the point where a lot of us, and what I was saying earlier on is, a lot of people who played Far Cry 2, they left within about a month. I mean, with me, it was a week.
Yeah, a lot of people left.
Yeah, a lot of people left. A lot of people that I knew left. But they did come back to Far Cry 4 though. Do you know what I mean? And some of them have come back to Far Cry 4. I'm hearing about.
With Instincts and Far Cry 2, when you knew who hosted like a good list of like different people's maps and all quality, the room would be full, and you'd get people more or less queuing up. You'd be constantly pressing join. Someone left or got kicked out, and like, I just want to get in the match. And you're talking to them on the headset. You're going, I can't get in. And it was just really good times. That
you would get private messages saying, "Listen, leaves the lobby. Send me an invite right away."
There was a way though, wasn't it, in the lobby that you could say it was 16 players. Could say, right, I want to keep 3 players for friends and only let 13 public join. You could change the figures, so there was ways around it.
Yeah, you could.
Right, so that's sort of like multiplayer, and that's the thing. Like, it would be nice for them to implement those kind of things. Do you know what I mean? It regards to multiplayer. Sorry, is there something else that you wanna sort of like mention?
I would like to mention that.
I'm gonna beat you.
Well, I just want to mention how the community devs are a lot better this time. In Far Cry 3, they kept saying we're going to look into fixing it and stuff like that, and that's when they implemented that lobby fix. But it wasn't. You couldn't even host any maps when they first put it out, and then they did put a patch in so you could have the single map lobby, and that was a disaster. So we kept hoping they would fix it, and they never did. And with Matthias, he seems to be responding to a lot of people. He seems to be talking to the mappers and stuff. So I feel that this has changed a lot, in my opinion.
One second. We have somebody else here. Alpha Sergeant, welcome to the stream.
He's been around since.
He's been around for a long time, as Alpha Sergeant.
What we used to with Far Cry, those guys, is that after 6 months they desert it, and you don't get many sort of fixes or anything. So they need to break that cycle and start supporting the game longer.
I like the way that I mean, we have a new community. Is it community manager, Matthias?
Yeah,
I believe. I think Matthias, he is doing I'm not trying to sort of big him up, but he's been fantastic. I mean, whenever he can, he joins in. He joins in conversations on Ubisoft forums. I've seen him drop into my Twitch every now and again. I've seen him even on Facebook as well too. Every now and again he drops in, and he's very enthusiastic about the editing community. Very enthusiastic. We've not had anyone like that. Do you know what I mean? So he's a breath of fresh air as far as I'm concerned.
There was a guy called Gearhead going back to Far Cry 3, and I bombarded him with a ton of questions before the game released or anything, and he started answering them, and then suddenly it went quiet, and he left and went join the police force in Sweden or something. But apart from, I probably did his head in, and he got sick of it. But apart from him, no one else has come forward like this, and Matthias he just seems a genuine guy that with a passion for the game, and he wants to be involved and wants to get involved.
It was like sorry, you say what you have to say, Lazy. Sorry.
Well, he just seems like he's very interested in the map editing too, like and all that. I mean, he's throwing these map. That's the first time that's ever happened in a Far Cry game. I mean, they had some contests in the past, but not like this.
Nothing like this. I mean, one of the things that I felt was really cool. Was Gamescom this year. Unfortunately, I couldn't go due to work. I wish I could have. But with Gamescom, they did I think it was a live presentation, and they were. I think they did some stuff from the first Map Jam competition, and him and his team showed some what do you call it? Some maps off.
Yeah.
He played like True Survival's map, I think.
Yeah, there was one with some sort of was it like a farm truck or something like that? I can't remember what it was. It looked really cool anyway. I just briefly saw it. Do you know what I mean? But the custom built stuff. They had
to go on True Survival's map and on Kyle's map, I think.
Yeah, Kyle's map. That was kind of cool for them to be playing the maps we made.
And that's the thing. It's almost like I'm not sure whether Ubisoft actually know about about some of the things that we're actually building, or whether they're actually interested in some of the stuff that we're building. But that goes without saying.
One of the community, I think it was managers on the Ubisoft forums. I can't remember the name, but you can find it on there. I don't know if it's a he or she put on I think it's a Kit Kat or something. I'm not sure the proper name. I'll have to look, but put on a post that she or he would be interested in a map that was sort of underwater. And we were saying, well, with the modifiers, you could turn off so that you can stay underwater for a long time. But I was saying that you can't use a knife or takedowns underwater on Far Cry 4, but you could maybe have partly submerged bases with a way in through the water. But for someone to actually come forward and be saying that they're interested in certain map sort of themes and stuff, they do seem a lot more like they want to be involved. I get the impression there's things simmering away that they've got these plans, and suddenly, we're going to be like, wow, this is brilliant now. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I'm definitely hoping so, because I mean, it would be nice to be able to host, several maps and have people drop in and drop out and so forth. That would be nice to have that again. It would be nice for some of the older editors to come back as well too. I mean, I've literally got a group of people who are waiting to see what's happening with Far Cry 5. Um, the only thing is though,
The
when it
whole of the Xbox One scene is just waiting. The more or less about 95%, I'd guess, of like known mappers on the Xbox side
mm,
snubbed Far Cry 4, and people think that they're gone, but they're not. They're listening. They're all in the background, and if any info comes out about the editor, loads will just surface, and if they give us what we want, it'll explode massive. And we look at the maps on the PS4 to the Xbox One with these map jams. But I
mm.
tell you what, if they give us a good game, them creative guys on Xbox will come back, and you'll have just a
It's
massive
gonna be,
community doing good stuff.
it's gonna be absolutely incredible, man, to see seriously because to see some of these guys come back. I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen some absolutely astonishing things. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, if you've got start, you can't go through names without upsetting people without not saying the name. But you'd be here for like 20 minutes just
Oh
going
yeah,
through
true.
map
Yeah,
makers'
yeah,
names.
yeah,
yeah,
So many
definitely,
yeah.
talented sort of individuals out there
yeah,
that do
definitely.
Yeah, yeah, I would like to comment on that. If you see the people that make the maps in Far Cry 4, and that's where you started, you haven't seen nothing compared to what a lot of
No,
these
yeah.
veteran, yeah, these veteran Far Cry 5 mappers have, they disappeared because they took out the
Far Cry
multiplayer.
2, yeah, Far Cry 2.
Yeah, so the veterans of Far Cry, when they come back, the older guys, when they come back, you'll see so many cool looking designs, some things you
Yeah,
never even
some things that
imagined
are
before.
outside the box, which actually reminds me, yeah, of a map, yeah, that absolutely astonished me. Um,
was that Seth's map.
after a while, because I've only just sort of like come back into Far Cry, into the community, because I basically thought it was dead until you guys brought me back. And I was introduced to a map on the PC a few weeks ago called the Dunwich Horror, and my
Oh, it's by Alpha Sergeant. Yeah,
word, that is such an incredible map. Wow, just wow. Do you know what I mean? Like every inch of that map, from the piano, everything's custom made. The typewriter, the chandeliers. It's just such an incredible map. And
see,
seriously, do you know what I mean?
problem with my play style, I run into a map like that, and because I'm an idiot and I'm running around everywhere, I miss a lot of stuff. But I went back in after with Lazy Mapper, and he said, "Look at the chandeliers or lights. I think one was made out of bottles or glasses, and a lot of things I miss. You don't see a lot of detail because I'm just running to kill them.
That Dunwich Horror, yeah, is a
I
work
know
of
it's an amazing
genius.
map.
It's a work of genius.
Yeah, the
Seriously.
piano and everything,
And
the
it's not even
typewriter.
just that. I
Yeah.
mean, if you go outside, there's the cat outside as well too. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just incredible. Do you know what I mean? Um, and I had to look like three, 4 times, man, at certain things because I actually thought they were actually assets in the game or some sort of mods. Do you know what I mean?
The
Such an
piano,
incredible.
like, I don't know. I really don't know how. I've not been taking it apart, but
But
you just want to go up and start playing it. I know there'll be like certain keys on it now, but you just want it to work.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's maps like that, yeah, that got me interested in the first place. There
I
was
think
I tell you what started me off building in the first place. The map that got me like Dunwich Horror, yeah, was it was a map. It was a cathedral map that was built on Far Cry 2. It was laggy as hell. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But the detail on it was just absolutely insane. Do you know what I mean? For what they could do with that. And apparently, wasn't it about 3 or 4 guys that built that?
I
Because
don't know
they
if I've
used to
seen
swap
it.
the maps between them.
Yeah, some did. You could. That was another beauty thing on Far Cry 2. You could invite people in, and you could invite them so that they can actually download the map file and take it away and work on it, or you could invite them in so that they can play it, but they can't download afterwards. and you could have projects with there's multiple people. Obviously, the first one that started it was they had the name as the original author, but there was quite a lot of custom building going on with that game.
And that's why in one of my videos I talked about the map community, and I showed like the first map that I ever built was just like anybody else. I just got the game, and I found out that there was this map editor, so I just started plonking stuff down as usual. You know what I mean? And never knowing what was actually possible until somebody showed me that map, and I didn't play Far Cry for about 2 weeks. You know what I mean? After I'd seen that. And a friend of mine, he just gave me a tour from some maps that he'd seen, and then I thought, do you know what, that's what I want to do. Do you know what I mean? And then I started creating stuff, and I'd spend hours, and it was like throwing me into a massive Lego box for the first time.
My first experience was on Instincts, and that was my first ever online game. I'd never played a game online before, and I was on this map called Valor Beach, and it just looked beautiful. And the next one loaded up, and it was just like a dog turd. And I thought, what the hell is this like happening here? You know, how can they make such an awful level? And I said to this guy, what's going on? This is diabolical. This thing's floating all over. And he said, oh, someone's just made a shit map. And I'm like, what do you mean a map? What's a map? And he said, oh, there's a level editor. And then that was it. I was sort of hooked.
Yeah, that's it. Recently, a map has impressed me. And I think it's by Cepho1. Was it Vengeance? It's called.
Yeah, and also
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that's
Asylum
nice. That
as well.
castle.
That one and the Asylum one, they've
The
both been
Asylum.
really quality.
Yeah. So you guys have played the? Have you played the Vengeance?
I've seen a lot of
Map?
his stuff on PS4, and like I thought, no, this guy, because I sort of left for a little bit, and the next thing he's doing his maps, I'm like, holy shit, who's this guy? And I got talking to him, and he's just like we're talking now, real easy, going just normal, no bullshit. He's not big-headed or anything. And then I was going on about the budget and stuff, and he got a PC, and he showed me a few pictures. I'm like, Jesus, man, he just took to it. I mean, I don't know about the Lazy Mapper, but it took me quite a while to get going on the PC. And I'm having to find out stuff and ask people. And Seth always just took to it.
It's only took me a week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've built I've built a whole city.
Personally, it takes me a long time with the editor. I want to throw it sometimes.
But going back to this map, Vengeance. The reason why I wanted to talk about this map is because again, it shows the possibilities. We've yet to see some maps come out from some of the old school map editors. That there's still, some people are still working on some new stuff. You know what I mean? Which I can't wait to see what they actually do.
mean,
Obviously, myself, I've got a new map coming out in a couple of months or so. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully before Far Cry 5 comes out. So it'll be
Because I'm
interesting.
new on PC, like we may be new on it, on building. I don't know who the big shots are on Far Cry 2 and Far Cry 3. There's a guy called, I think it's Imre Zoltan, and he's
All
like
right.
a Setho. He'll throw items around all over and make all kinds of stuff. He's really good. But he's not done nothing on Far Cry 4. And with Far Cry 4, there's a guy called Cold Blast. Me and the Lazy Map have played a lot of his maps. You've played one, Kemmit, and
Right.
he's like another genius on the editing, and we don't. He doesn't seem to engage with the community, but there are people out there. But the problem is the way of trying to find maps is so bad that we don't know. There's all these maps out there that are probably brilliant, but we don't know
But
about them.
that's the reason why. This is the reason why you've got channels like the three of us that are putting out some work. We're finding them. People are telling us about them. Either in Ubisoft forums or on Facebook. And we're playing through them because I mean I stream. Do you know what I mean? Like every week. And I play the community's maps, and some really nice maps to play, and I think when we play them and we record them, we kind of immortalize them as well too. People can go to our channels and find some of these maps. They'll find the titles of the maps if you want to find a really good map. For anyone who's watching this podcast tonight. Just check out our channels again. It's in all links are in the information section on my Twitch page. Check out all three of our channels on
I,
YouTube. You will see some really cool maps, by the three of us.
I
So,
think if I can butt in, like, for anyone new to Far Cry 4, if you go on the consoles now and you look on the top rated lists, you'll find a lot of crap. And I think what they need to do with the new game is they need to promote a lot better anything that's decent and quality. They need to showcase these maps. To do it with games like Little Big Planet, they sort of they promote the community a lot better with the maps and things.
Laser Mapper, I've got a question for you as well too. Something that me and Fallen Champ have been talking about is locking maps as well too. I,
I've
I,
been talking about that since Far Cry 2.
yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, personally, I don't know why you don't have the option. I know in Far Cry 3, Far Cry Instincts Predator, you couldn't open up the maps. I don't understand it because it actually people just reproduce the map. Other mappers just copy it and republish it, and then it floods. The browser. You can't find any good maps. You got the same maps copied over and over again. I don't understand why they don't give the mapper the option to lock your map when it's published or keep it unlocked. It should be up to the mapper or the map editor. That's what I think.
It stops people from sort of copying the map or taking it as their own. Or at least it should be like, if they're going to do that, yeah, it should have the full stamp of the original creator all over it, basically.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we used to do as well too. Some of us veteran players, when it comes to multiplayer maps that we created, we'd leave a little tag on it. There'd be like a little tag or something would be hidden inside of the map, where you wouldn't go. And one of the things that I used to do on the maps that I built was I used to put like a little tag inside the map and write my name in a specific place. Or what I'd do is I'd get some crates, yeah, and I'd create like a little tag, yeah, that was underneath the map, yeah, right in the corner somewhere, and no one could see it. So anyone who tried to steal my map, yeah, I would turn around and say, listen, that's my map. It's got my tag in such and such and such a place. Do you know what I mean? So I'd have to do
like
that.
your own watermark.
Yeah, basically. Do you know what I mean?
A guy on Predator called Okaru, I think that's how he pronounced it. Alpha Sergeant, remember? He did really good stuff, and he found a way where he could walk through walls. And we're like, how the hell can you do this? Because back then you couldn't go in anyone else's map. And at one point there was 16 people in this map, all just walking in and out through this wall and crawling, because you could go prone on that. You could lay on the floor and crawl along, and everyone was looking, saying, how the hell? We're in there like 30 minutes trying to work out how we're
using
doing it.
the occlusion blocks and stuff
Yeah,
like
and
that.
everyone was asking him. No, there wasn't occlusion blocks in that game,
Oh,
but
no.
everyone was asking him and messaging him and bombarding him. How have you done this? How have you done that? And he kind of, I don't know if he got off on it, but he didn't tell any of us how he'd done it. And then later on, I discovered that with the map file, it started with a letter P, and the unpublished file started with a letter K. And I thought, I'll just swap the letters over on this file, and it opened up a published map, so you could then go into people's maps. And I went in and looked, and he'd used these ladders to glitch through the wall. And I told a few people, and then next thing, everyone's using it. And he was a bit gutted that I'd done that, and I felt a twat. Like, sorry for my language, but I felt a bit horrible doing it. But everyone found out how to do that. But what I'm saying is, if you can fully lock a map, you could make your own things and leave people guessing forever. How's he done that? Or you could maybe leave the map so that you can unlock it for friends and things.
Yeah, or at least if you have a published map, you can open it up in the editor, but you're not allowed to publish it. So if somebody wants to how did this guy make this? How did this other mapper do this? You can open it up and look at it. But to publish it just seems silly to me, because then you have all these maps that are basically the same and they just flood everything.
Well, for real. I mean, like one of the things, I mean, that I mentioned it because I was fuming the other day because Sepho1 posted this map, the Vengeance map, and then MJ2, and then somebody reposted it for the MJ2 as well too. You know what I mean? Which kind of pissed me off. Do you know what I mean? So, but one of the things that I constantly do is whenever I'm playing live on Twitch, yeah, I always sort of check the original creator to see if it's the original creator. If it's not the original creator, I won't play it. You know what I mean? That's just something that I do. I prefer to play a title from the original creator, as far as I'm concerned. So Steve has mentioned something in the chat, yeah, that makes that he says searching for a map title doesn't make sense if you don't know the title in the first place. That is true, but um, searching for the author um, should be a little bit easier, at least. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you know that author makes incredible games. I mean that also ties into the sort of rating system as well, I believe.
I don't know why some of these people are republishing maps, because if I download Sethor's map now and I think, right, he hasn't got the weapons in I want to use, I can go into the editor and put them weapons in and play it for my own personal use. I don't need to republish that map. I've got no right to republish someone else's work. Why are they doing it? I understand if they want to play it with a friend in co-op using them different weapons, but these assholes don't even change the map picture half the time or the name or anything. They just republish it just to say they can. But one thing as well, when the map starts up, it shows the name of the map. It should put the original author's name in with that name of the map. Then they can't say to their friends, I made this, because they look stupid. If it says Chemic 1976 and they're trying to say to their mates, well, I made this, they're going to be sort of caught out straight away.
So with the editor, what kind of things are you looking for in Far Cry 5 editor?
I struggle with the size of in Far Cry 4, the water layers are massive, and you end up having to build loads of terrain to hide corners of them and things. I'd like something where they're certainly not as big. I'd like some new features. The things in Far Cry 4, they had a lot of occlusion when you lifted up the item. They had huge occlusion. So if you built something on an overpass and you put this item up on there, the occlusion, say, hanging down when you walked into that, everything would pop in and out. And
what did you think about the sort of like occlusion blocks sort of being separate, like in Far Cry 2? Because I remember I had to use a lot of occlusion blocks, yeah, in Far Cry 2.
You had to be good at what you were doing with them, especially if detail. Otherwise, you sort of did a lot of checking afterwards, and if you'd got something wrong, everything would just pop in and out. So they were more for advanced, more for like people who knew what they were doing. But
yeah, I knew what I was doing, so I used occlusion blocks. Do you know what I mean?
I think for beginners though, if beginners start putting them in maps, they're going to make a mess of the maps.
So it's best if they have, if some of the items do have occlusion properties.
Yeah, there's an option in Far Cry 4 in the settings to turn occlusion on or off, but it doesn't work. What happens is when you look at them in the editor, if you look at that item, like a white bit hangs down, if you click that box, that'll turn off. But when you go into the map and play it, the occlusion's still there. If you actually...
Yeah, that option is just to see it in the editor. That's all that is.
To show me the items individually don't have occlusion turn on or off built into each item as an option.
Yeah, and maybe give us a couple separate pieces to use ourselves.
Yeah, I think for me, Far Cry 4 didn't... I like those concrete like pieces, they're like slabs, but they were a bit boring looking and there wasn't enough solid items. I like something that you can use for a ceiling and a floor and walls. And for me, there wasn't enough. The walls that they had were really short. A lot of the maps, you couldn't really do crazy stuff with it. The pieces weren't designed like that. It was a bit... don't get me wrong, I like my maps, and some of the natural maps look brilliant, but when you see what people made in Far Cry 2, you can't do stuff like that in Far Cry 4. It doesn't have the pieces for it.
No.
Like the colonial fences and not...
Yeah.
You two guys play that map, Jade Dragon by Death Weapon X?
Is that... Which Far Cry was that on?
Far Cry 2, it was like a giant dragon that you could go inside, and it was built out of little green... There were plant pots, but they were turned the opposite way.
I don't think I played that one, no.
Oh, it was. I'll send you a picture tomorrow or something. It was an amazing piece of kit, and if you give people neat edges, they can build amazing things. But a lot of the time, you get things that are jagged corners or they've got bits sticking out, and we just need some blank square sort of rectangular triangular pieces
So
and stuff.
at the moment there is no news on Far Cry 5's editor. So basically for people who's just joined the podcast, we're just sort of like speculating on the editor and talking about how we would like things to change for Far Cry 5, especially
think
with the editor.
To sum part of it up is it seems like with Far Cry 4, you only got items that were in Far Cry 4. And what if we want blocks like Lego blocks that are not in the game? What if you want... That's what I'm trying to say. They need to sort of maybe detach away from the game and start bringing in
Instead of having
items.
instead of having the sort of like editor attached to the game itself, you have this one big editor that can be updated every so often. So like the next time they put a Far Cry game out, do you know what I mean?
We just get the
You
assets.
just you can the assets, they could sell the assets inside of Far Cry 5 or something daft like that. Or Far Cry,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
map editor.
Far Cry. Yeah, the map editor could be a little bit like Minecraft.
So
they
so
just
so it would be like
stuff.
it would really be a map editor and multiplayer. That's what it would be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because once you've built your map, yeah, then obviously you put you publish it and it would go onto the multiplayer. Do you know what I mean?
And single player
Yeah,
and co-op as
and
well.
single player. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as well, I mean, Alpha Sergeant, if he's still in here, he built a few escape maps. I think one was built based on Silent Hill and one was based on Bioshock, and they were phenomenal. But going back further, you look at a guy called Liam and another guy on Far Cry 2, Simple Wig. There's loads, again, there's too many to name. But escape maps were...
Mike G Live is another map editor from Far Cry
Yeah.
2. Not heard anything much about him, but yeah. I mean,
But when
we could name drop man all night.
know.
You know what I mean?
I'm
So
just saying, no, but with like escape maps, if you turn around to the new guys on Far Cry 5 and you know much back history on escape maps, they won't have a bloody clue. They're bringing a new team every time, and these things that are popular, you need to be able to... It's like, say, imagine about Far Cry 6 and they don't give you solo maps. They're going to be everyone that likes solo maps are going to be up in arms, and that's what we've put up with every game. They've give us something new but took something away that others have liked. And
Yeah,
that's what
well,
pisses people off.
they take away something that works. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they put something in that's broken.
yeah, which is something that I never understood. I never see. The thing is, I always felt from Far Cry 3, I felt that Ubisoft had a complete disconnect with the community, because we were playing Far Cry 4 for quite so. As a matter of fact, Far Cry 2 came out in 2008. That's when I started playing it, but I didn't start building until 2010. I believe 2010 was when I started building, because I never had a clue that there was any map editor in it. Do you know what I mean? So I had this game and then when was it that Far Cry 3 came out? I think Far Cry 3 came out, was it
2010 maybe, or 12.
2012? I think it was.
Was it?
Was it 2000? No, it wasn't 2012.
2010.
No,
Was it 2000? Was it 2010?
Far Cry 2 was 2008, Far Cry 2, so it could maybe like a couple of years after.
it was like 2012, I think.
Was it?
They were saying it was
I
like,
was gonna say 2012, because it'd be a couple of years that I was building for.
Right.
That'll be right. About 2012. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Far Cry 3 came out. Now, what I didn't understand is how much of a disconnect were, because by the time they were playing it, people were still publishing maps and building maps, and there was a lot of us out. Do you know what I mean? That was still building maps, freshly, for multiplayer and so forth, So there was a complete disconnect, with Ubisoft and its hardcore fans. Do you know what I mean?
I was on that game on PC not long ago, and there's actually more players in multiplayer on PC than console. I can't remember whether it was 16 or 18, but I think it was 18, but there's only 14 on console on Far Cry 3. I was surprised at that. It'd never been mentioned before.
Right.
But looking at the items in the editor on Far Cry, you had massive problems with pixelation, and there was a few guys that I know have made maps, and I went in the map, and it looked brilliant. But as soon as you backed off a little bit, everything just started disappearing.
Yeah, that's
The,
right.
the,
Yeah. So just a quick thing. Yeah, Far Cry 3 was released in November the 29th, 2012.
all right, I
It
didn't
was
Yeah.
realise it was as
released.
long as that.
Yeah.
The items for me, I mean, I'd love to get some of them things out of Far Cry. There's like metal walkways that when you walked on them, they were like rusty. They made a nice noise, and I liked all those containers. There was some really excellent stuff. I like the Chinese themes, but unfortunately, the pieces were so bad with the draw distance. It's you couldn't really make things, and if you could, you couldn't play them.
Mm, mm.
And the editor was different, wasn't it? You remember you used the right and left analog triggers.
Yeah.
Uh,
I actually found more freedom in Far Cry 2 than I have in. I mean, Far Cry 3 editor was great. I actually liked it, but
yeah,
one of the problems that I had, yeah, with the pieces was the draw distance of some of the pieces were absolutely terrible.
shocking.
Oh yeah.
It was terrible. Do you
I'll
know what
just
I
say
mean?
as well, I've got that on PC, and the graphics on PC makes it look like a new game compared to the Xbox 360. It actually looks nice on the PC.
Mm. Well, how is the draw distance on Far Cry 3 compared to console?
Consoles, you'd have to ask Steve Botter. I haven't really messed around in the editor.
Oh,
I've
right,
had
see,
bad,
see,
bad
see.
experiences from it on console. I never.
So, so I mean, this is one of the things that we talk about.
I'll have a look for next time. Next time if we do
Mm.
another one of these in a month, I'll get an answer back to you on that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, see what the draw distance is like on some of these items. But like I said, with Far Cry 5, I mean, and the map editor and multiplayer, we're just sort of like speculating at the moment and just sort of like, right, okay, then, this is what we'd like to see. But we'd also, what I would like to see as well too is, even though Matthias is a community leader, it would be nice to see the devs. Do you know what I mean? Actually,
Make a map.
you know, well, besides make a map, it will be interesting, yeah, to see them talk about the editor. I would
Yeah,
like for them to check out some of these maps, yeah, that we're building, that the hardcore communities building, because we have a very high I think sort of like anticipation, not anticipation. The word is I can't even think of the word right about now. Um, but I'm very hopeful um, for the map editor, but also cautious at the same time as well too, because I don't want to be disappointed.
what if I throw this into the mix right now? A company releases a game and they make it so bloody good that people are gonna play it for 7 or 8 or 9 years. Then those people aren't going to be buying other games. So do they give us some crappy things sometimes so that we get sick and move on and buy other games? I want something
Mm.
long term. I want DLC. I want new stuff so that I keep
Well,
playing it.
I want to say something that Ubisoft's what's his name? Yves Guillemot had mentioned that he doesn't want to just make games every year now. He wants to make games and add updates to them instead of like just sending that game out and no support for them anymore. Because they've been noticing that if they support their games for a longer period of time, that they can actually make money that way also. So
That's correct. Um, let me just throw a couple of other things in there as well too, because I'm part of another community. Yeah, I play Warframe, and
mhm.
now Warframe, yeah, which is run by a company called DE, which is Digital Extremes. They have every so often they do like dev streams, and they tell you, yeah, what updates are coming for consoles and PCs, and they're constantly. I mean, this game, and I've been playing this game for 3 years straight. Do you know what I mean? Near enough 4 years. Do you know what I mean? And they're constantly updating the game, putting new weapons in there, putting new warframes in there. It's just absolutely amazing. But they always do like they do Twitch streams, they do dev streams, and they do let's plays and stuff like that. It's absolutely crazy, and they're always in communication with their fans. Now I believe, yeah, that Ubisoft, yeah, should take a leaf out of their book if that's the way that they're going to go. Do you know what I mean? And with regards to the map editor, they should look at people like Digital Extremes, and who is it that hasn't Microsoft bought out Mojang as well too,
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
with
yeah. They
Minecraft,
bought. Yeah, they bought Minecraft out.
right? So
And
so
all they
so
do is send out patches. That's all they do.
so exactly. So with Minecraft, yeah, that's constantly getting updated as well too with new stuff. Do you know what
I
I
think
mean?
some problems could be that like Ubisoft's all over the world, and the vehicles. Sometimes it might be a company in Shanghai that does the vehicles. So them vehicles, if we get those in multiplayer, they could be from different studios, all in different parts of the world, and they have their own sort of maybe rank system and hierarchy and who we have to go through with what, and they maybe created such a load of red tape and minefield. It's maybe hard just simple communications between them. I'm just guessing, that there seems it might not be as easy with big companies. I don't know how big a company Warframe is.
Mm. It's actually getting bigger. I mean, there's a new update that's coming to Warframe, which is going to be like an open world area. You know what I mean? But the stuff that and that's for free. That's basically it's free to play. The game is free to play, and yes, you do have to grind for for a lot of the stuff. But you have to understand that it's free to play. You can, however, achieve a lot of things, yeah, just by not spending a penny. But if you're into grindy stuff, then fine, fair enough. But what I'm talking about, or what we're proposing, is with the editor. It should be a standalone editor with assets from games that they release in the future. Do you know? So if they release a new asset or they release a new game, yeah, with completely new assets, as a matter of fact, Lazy Mapper, didn't you say something to me about the assets from Blood Dragon going to Far Cry 3?
Yeah, you were
They
able to
did, yeah,
download that.
they did the
I was
pack,
able
didn't they?
to. I made a Star Trek map because of the assets that they released. That was nice of them. They gave it out for free, but the problem was if you didn't have that map 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 pack, assets, they wouldn't work on your. You couldn't play the map. So I
Right.
don't know how that will be made to work right, but I'm sure they could figure it
Did
out.
Did you guys know that that was never available on PC?
No.
Yeah, it was never came out on the PC.
So what I'm basically saying is it would be nice, yeah, that if they had that, that standalone editor and they had the multiplayer, that they could just update it every so often. Do you know what I mean? And I'm
Steve,
not
what
I'm not
you
sure,
said
are
there,
they using a different graphics engine as well?
I don't think they've announced anything of that. I don't know.
I'm just wondering if they're using the same graphics engine as they've used for Far Cry 3 and 4.
Yeah, I would say yeah. It's the same.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it looked really good on Primal. It looked really good on Far Cry
Hmm.
5. It probably is. It moves a lot of the things seem the same. But Steve, what I just said there about the
Yeah, he said Far Cry 5 is using the same graphics engine, just updated. Right, the Juno 2 engine. Right, okay. Sweet. So if they're using that engine, yeah, then it's possible that these things can be updated. Do you know what I mean? And it should be possible that, say, for instance, if I bought a certain asset, yeah, from a game. So, like, say, for instance, we got Far Cry 5 and we got assets from, say, Far Cry Primal or Far Cry 4. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, and even if I didn't download them and you download them and you built the map, I should still be able to play it, but it would be locked. Do you know what I mean? Until I purchase those assets. Or
I,
Yeah,
I,
there should
I
be a
just
way.
think that if someone purchases something and builds something, everyone who plays that multiplayer map shouldn't have to purchase them. They should just automatically be able to play that map. Only the
Yeah,
person that wants to
be
build
yeah
them
they
should have to
should
buy
they
it.
should be able to play it unless they're building a map. If they're building a map, yeah, then you know what I mean, and they decided to purchase it, then that's fair enough.
Yeah.
well, supposedly on like Call of Duty, when they send out an update, they'll actually send everybody the map, but it's not actually opened yet.
You've
So
got to pay to
people
get
are
it, haven't you? But
actually
you've got it on your system.
you got it on your system, but you can't I guess load it up unless you bought it or something.
A lot of people, looked at this Wildlands. I only played the demo that they brought out. And a lot of people, as soon as they saw Ghost Recon Wildlands, they said, "My God, that looks like Far Cry 2 in sort of third
It
person."
sure does.
So I'd
It
like
looks like
some
the
of those
same engine.
assets. Yeah.
Is it the same engine,
It
Wildlands?
looks like it to me, but I don't know.
So, with that being said, we are going to wrap things up for today. This was our first podcast, guys. It was quite interesting to talk about Far Cry 5. I was quite excited to talk about Far Cry 5. And we are, the three of us are looking to do this like once every month. So yeah, that's something that we're gonna do. Has anyone else got anything to say before we wrap things up completely?
I'll just jump in. I think as time goes on, when the game comes out and we all play different, we'll check out maps and we'll chat about people's maps and different map builders. And I don't know, Kemet might find a way where we can be playing these maps and you can watch us play them and we can maybe even review them. Or one of them can build and can talk to Kemet while he's building. And we're going to try and do quite a lot of stuff. It should be really cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna try and represent the community as best as we possibly can, like we have been doing. Like I said, regards to videos, YouTube videos and stuff like that. And if if you want to, if there's a map that you've built and you want us to do a video or something like that, just let us know. Like I said, you can catch us on Facebook, in some in Facebook groups, or you can catch me on Twitch or even Twitter. Catch me on Twitter, message me on Twitter, Facebook. Or just message me on YouTube channel, or message us on the YouTube channel, because we have some really good ideas, the three of us. And if anyone else wants to join in chat on Discord at some point, just let us know before we set that up. We'll have a discussion about it, and next month, look for the next podcast next month, guys.
Yeah, it was good talking to everybody. It was a good time.
For sure.
And I look for anybody's questions, maybe they could send, and we can use them on the next podcast.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be it's all about Far Cry 5 anyway. So we will have something next month. We don't know what, but we will be talking Far Cry for sure. So listen, guys, we're out of here for the night. It's been fun. It's been great chatting to you lot, and it's been great getting some feedback from the. Oh, wait a minute! Just one quick question. It says Wildlands use a different engine. Right. Okay then, guys. Take it easy.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the stream. It's been a pleasure. Fallen and Lazy Mapper have been absolutely fantastic, and myself and everybody in the chat.
I'll try not to butt in as much next time. I had a habit of butting in. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, listen. Do you know what? Yeah, butting in is part of it, man. It's a real conversation. This is what we talk about.
I just let Steve go. That's all.
All right then, guys. Take it easy. We will catch you on the next podcast. Peace.
See ya.
All right, Says. Thanks for joining.